In this episode of Retro Gaming Night, we say Princess Peach in.
It's me, Mario!
This is casually hardcore.
Place the game clothing.
Game features.
Game news.
And casually hardcore.
Press start.
Hi there and welcome to the very first episode of Retro Gaming Night. My name is Mark and today we're looking at Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64. So Mario 64 is a 3D platformer, but before we get into that, we're just going to talk about this that's on display at the moment here, which is Mario's face. So when you start up the game, the very first thing you see is a 3D huge face of Mario. With this you can actually manipulate it in real time by just pulling and stretching apart. And a little tip here is if you hold the R button down, you can actually freeze the pose as you manipulate it, so you can create all sorts of fun stuff. So Nintendo actually made this because they could basically. The N64 was powerful enough that you could actually take real-time 3D graphics and manipulate them on the fly, as it were. You couldn't do this at the time on the PlayStation or Saturn, and Nintendo really wanted to show off the power of the N64. So, what is Mario? Mario is Nintendo's answer to how do you convert a 2D platformer into a 3D game. This game is known as the best game ever made. It doesn't quite hold that title. No, it's one of the best. It's even though it's 15 years old at least at this point in time. But yeah, we'll do is we'll talk about the game and just a bit about it and why you should play it. So at the start here you have Princess Peach inviting you over to eat some cake. This was a few years before Portal, so the cake is a lie jokes weren't relevant back then. But then this bit here is just showing you like the introduction to the game, all real-time 3D, and at the time everyone was astounded by this. You know, we hadn't seen anything like this before, even on the PlayStation or Saturn. They could not compare to this. Most people, when they first showed this off, actually thought it was CG, not real time. So first thing you get is Mario popping out of the classic pipe there. So the area here in front of the castle is your tutorial area. You have a few bits of text telling you the basic controls, and then the signposts elsewhere around the level telling you more detailed controls if you want to find them. But basically, Nintendo want you to have a play around so you can do every single move that Mario has in this area without fear. There's no enemies, there is no danger. So you can spend hours just messing around out here, trying everything out. So you can do the swimming, you can do the jumping, all sorts of stuff. And there's little secrets like this cannon here, which hint at things to come later on in the game. So let's talk about the controller for Mario 64. So as you can see here, we've got Lakitu, who's a classic character from the Mario Bros franchise. And Nintendo smartly used him as the cameraman in this game. So before, very few 3D games even had a usable camera. Most of them had a fixed camera, which didn't work very well if you played any of the early PlayStation or Saturn titles that used them. So Nintendo had to come up with a brand new camera system here, which is partially why they created the C buttons on the N64 controller. They wanted that to be your camera control, so you can be in full control of the camera at all times rather than a fixed camera perspective. So with this, Nintendo created one of the best cameras ever made. It's not brilliant today, it is still perfectly usable now though, and many games still have yet to beat the camera that's used in this game. Nintendo gave you full control over where you could see Mario in the game and in the world. And then we've got to talk about the N64 analog stick. The analog stick is one of the first analog sticks ever made for a console. There have been previous ones in the past, but Nintendo really made it popular in a sense. So with that, it gave you 360-degree movement of Mario. So as you can see here, you can run around in all directions with ease and fluidity. Unlike playing Tomb Raider, where you had your tank controls, where up was always forward, and then left and right kind of span you around, the D-pad doesn't really work in 3D games, which is why Nintendo created the analog stick in their controller. So the first level here is bob-omb Battlefield. Just listen to the music. The music in this game is so charming and wonderful. Just getting out a CD soundtrack of it or find an MP3 somewhere, and you can just listen to it, and you realise just how wonderful the music in this game is, and the time and effort that's been put into it. You know, these aren't just generic tunes; they are Mario essentially. And even now, the later Mario games take these classic 64 tracks and remix them for the new games. So bob-omb Battlefield is basically your starter level, so it gets you a nice introduction to the game mechanics. the characters you would like to meet, like the Goombas and stuff like that. The very first star here is actually a boss battle, which is kind of odd for a game to put you in such a difficult situation. Thankfully, this boss battle is stupidly easy. It is impossible to fail it, basically. But it gives you a chance to mess around with the N64 stick, to actually use it in the way it's meant to be used, by running around in circles. Mess around with the camera so you can always see Mario, and then it allows you to mess around with grabbing enemies and punching and kicking and so on. But what we'll do is we'll show you bits about this game. Not trying to give away too much, just showing you some like the little cool areas and the little cool levels that are in the game as well. So as said, this game is a 3D platformer. It is probably the best 3D platformer ever made. If not, it's certainly up there at the very top. Right now you can see jumping on the Koopa shell and just riding around on it. And how cool is that? Nintendo really changed the 2D gameplay of Mario into this 3D world with great success. They put in a whole ton of new features, so you can fly as Mario. Nintendo didn't make a half-baked idea with Mario 64, putting Mario into a 3D world. They really took every idea and took it to the fullest potential possible. I'm going to look now at one of the first boss battles with Bowser. So when you do this, you have to complete a level first. Now this is more in the tradition of 2D Mario, so while you are in a 3D world, you're going along a more linear path here, but it's filled with difficult areas and lots of tricks that require dexterity of the controller and skill as well. Now the Bowser fight here is extremely iconic. Everyone knows this. As soon as it was shown off, people's jaws dropped to the ground. It's just amazing, and even today you still get goosebumps playing this boss battle. But how did Nintendo sort of turn a 2D game into a 3D one? You know, 2D games really haven't worked well in 3D, but Nintendo managed it with this by totally changing things. So instead of just having multiple levels that you had to get to the end of, you had to collect stars. So you had challenges. Each level has between 5 and 9 stars, depending on the level. Some have fewer, some have more, with challenges. So it could be reach the top of the level to get to the star, defeat a certain enemy, or like in this level here, you have to race down a slide. Now this level actually has a secret star in it as well, and a lot of other levels do as well. It's not even told anywhere that there is a secret star here. You just have to beat this level in a fast time to get the second star. So it was all about talking to your friends and finding out all these little secrets, and the game is chock full of secrets. As a platformer, it's got the traditional snow levels, the fire levels, the Egyptian level and so on. And while they were well worn even back in the 2D days, everyone wanted to see how did Nintendo take them 2D level ideas and turn them into 3D. Nintendo did a fantastic job. There is not a bad level in this game. There is all sorts of fun levels in here, all sorts of fun mechanics. It is just a joy to play. So if you've never played Mario 64 before, you should get this copy now. You can buy it on the N64 obviously, get it on the Wii Virtual Console, you can even get it on the Nintendo DS. Now the DS version very quickly has had a slight graphical upgrade. It doesn't look quite as nice. You can play as Yoshi, Wario and Luigi in it as well as Mario. There is a 4-player mode in there, there is touchscreen controls in there as well. But really, you need to play the N64 original just because the controller is a perfect fit for this game. The DS version unfortunately uses the D-pad to control the game, or you can use the touchscreen to be like the analog stick, but it doesn't work quite as well. Just going to quickly talk about the analog stick here. Analog stick allowed you to put in various degrees of movement. So as you can see right here, you can make Mario tiptoe around an enemy that's asleep so you don't wake it up, and then you can run as fast as possible. So instead of just having an on-off switch, analog stick gives you acceleration, as it were. So you can control how fast or how slow Mario is, giving you even more control than normal over a game character. The levels are filled with lots of throwbacks to the older Mario games. So obviously you have the classic like Green Worlds and the Ice Worlds and so on. You've got here, Little Big World. You can go into one painting and you are huge Mario with tiny characters, or into another painting where you're a tiny Mario with huge characters. There is just so much to talk about in this game, just things like Metallic Mario, the levels, the music, the sound effects, getting all 120 stars, difficulty, way too much to put in a single video here. So hopefully this video is just giving you a taste of it. Go out and play it, Write your thoughts in the comments below. Just like and subscribe to our videos, because we'll be doing a lot more of these on a whole ton of different games, and hopefully you enjoyed that. So until next time, stay casually hardcore. Did you enjoy that video? Then hit that like button. Why not subscribe as well and get the latest videos, news and competitions? Don't forget to check out casuallyhardcore.com, where you can buy hundreds of video game shirts and geek clothing, or make your own shirts with worldwide shipping also available. Until next time, stay casually hardcore.